Shalom, shalom, kol halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakaha, Kwadash, double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The 144,000 and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth among the heathen nations that look like those heathen nations. This is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with part 2. All right. This video, Apostle Ramlab sent me this video while I was uploading my first video, and I started watching, and I was like, it's pretty much, almost talking about the same thing that I was talking about and how it's going to begin. Basically, how and this is a jailbreak overlander, also known as AKA Richie from Boston, and he was telling too much truth, revealing too many Edomite secrets, and so Esau ran him off the YouTube, and he's been on other platforms, and now he's back, as the jailbreak overlander. All right. And, and I deals with Richie. All right. But he's going to point out some things and basically say some of the things that I've pointed out. And I just want to mention that you have mainstream media that are purposely airing fraudulent stories, and then those stories get spread across the internet as truth. Number one, the fraud about the people eating cats and dogs, Haitians in Ohio. That turned out to be a fraudulent story, and even the woman who started the lie was she was shamed. It was some Edomite woman, of course, and that got blasted off because it's not in the culture of Haitians to eat stuff like that. I know Haitians. I got, and I've dealt with a lot of Haitians in the past, and it's just not a part of their culture. All right. And then the next thing was, what was the next lie that they pushed? Well, now my mind went blank, but another one about the deaths from Asheville in that area being in the hundreds, when you have witnesses that are working with the body recovers who's talking about the ordering of 10,000 body bags. The first report that I heard, it was talking about bodies in the trees, 40-foot waves, bodies washing up, and hundreds of bodies washing down the river. I watched another report where a woman was speaking about 163 children being missing just from one area that was still missing. They've been missing for, that's what has been well over 2 weeks now. They're dead. So the death toll is a lot larger than what they're telling you. All right. And now the next lie, and the newest lie, is, as Richie's going to point out, and I believe it to be a lie. This is my opinion and entertainment purposes, even though I'm speaking about factual events. But nevertheless, this whole thing, this weak story about militias riding around hunting FEMA. All right. So without any further ado, man, let me pull up some scriptures and get them ready. And the first scripture I'm going to read before I play Richie is never trust thy enemy. I think that's 2nd Ezra 9. Because these people, he is getting sloppy in these last moments, He's getting very sloppy. This maybe Sirach. So give me a second, Salakia. Just trying to find that scripture. Yeah, it's got to be Ecclesiasticus. Okay, it's running from me. This is Ecclesiastes 12. All right, I'm looking at for 9 and 12. It's 12. It's the 12th chapter. All right, and it reads, Ecclesiastes, or the book of Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like an iron rusteth, so does his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, that thou should be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that the rust have not been altogether wiped away. All right, so basically it's like if there's a dirty window and you wipe it, and now you can see clearly out the window. You can clearly see his wickedness. You can clearly see the weapon in his hand that he was hiding, that you couldn't see when the window was dirty. All right, you know, just giving you a breakdown to give you understanding. All right, now you can see clearly that this man has bad intentions. So without any further ado, the brother formerly known as Richie from Boston.
What's up, guys? It is the 15th. It's October. It's 2024, and I hate to be making another video like this, but this video is going to basically back up, or should back up, what I've been saying is coming. And if you don't understand that, I don't know what else to tell you. Keep the blinders on. Keep worrying about Puff Daddy, because that's why this is all happening. He's an enormous distraction. And everything else is basically a clown show. But in the background, the government's making moves, and you need to know about them. For instance, remember yesterday when they made this claim?
And then, matter of fact, speaking about Richie from Boston, when he disappeared off of YouTube, there was a rumor that he was dead, you know, and I, because, you know, even I was like, damn, is he dead? Because you know, I remember once saying that with the evidence he keeps bringing out, that they're gonna off this guy, you know, and him being a former soldier, you know, and being so popular, there are lots of people who talk to Richie and would give him information that a lot of people couldn't get. And then all of a sudden he disappeared off, you know, all of a sudden we didn't see his videos anymore. And then there was a rumor that he was dead, but well, he's not. Richie's still here, and he's still exposing Esau Edom.
With absolutely zero proof of any type other than them saying so. According to the mainstream media, FEMA's the victim now.
This morning, growing safety fears for government workers in western North Carolina, supporting ongoing recovery efforts from Hurricane Helene. According to the Washington Post, an urgent message was sent to numerous federal agencies on Saturday, warning FEMA has advised all federal responders in Rutherford County, North Carolina, to stand down and evacuate the county immediately, adding that National Guard troops had come across trucks of armed militia, saying they were out hunting FEMA.
Last year's Bobby Kids
sons of bastards.
Out in 10
that
days.
did not
In
happen the
celebration
first
of
time I watched
Jones
this
Road's
video.
4th anniversary, we're launching the Bobby Kids.
The hell with you, bitches.
So according to the news, National Guard were out there doing their job, trying to save people, trying to help people, and they ran into trucks full of militias.
And there's no evidence except for them just saying. So it's like one of their favorite things that they love to do. We've been hacked. There's been hacked. There's been a you know, cyber T word, right? And that's one of their favorites, because they do not have to provide any proof, but they can clearly shut down services and cause all sort of chaos. But there's no, you know, they don't have to present any evidence that that is what really happened. All right, so I've always been very suspect, especially waking up to this truth, of when they claim that there's been some sort of cyber thing. Not saying that cyber things cannot and do not happen, but sometimes I believe that they do it up to themselves and then blame it on someone else. It's an excuse not to pay or get out of payments, or an excuse to pass some new policy that's going to oppress the people even more.
That told them, hey, National Guard, we're out here hunting FEMA. And yet there's zero information otherwise. Zero. No arrests were made, no confrontation, nothing happened at all. Let me tell you a secret. If, and only if, American citizens decided to posse up and ignore all the people that needed help, but instead took all their time, energy, and effort to go hunt FEMA, those are federal agents. And guess what? National Guard would have done the trick as well. But it's all complete and utter bullshit. And you know why? Because they pull.
Yeah, you think the National Guard would have just allowed armed militias to hunt FEMA? They wouldn't, unless they were with the militias.
This. Did you see this coming? And of course, you haven't seen this on the news, but effective September 27th, 2024, the Department of Defense put out a DoD Directive 5240.01. DoD intelligence and intelligence-related activities and defense intelligence component assistance to law enforcement agencies and other civil authorities. Because law enforcement needs help, Richie. There just isn't enough of them.
So I just find it funny that these policies get set into place, right before event happens. Kind of like how, contracts get signed for lithium right before, a tragic natural disaster hits and destroys all the inhabitants off the land, and now this contract has been written, before it happens, right before it happens, and then it happens. You find it just kind of suspect. Or how someone finalizes their new insurance policy the day before 3 large, skyscrapers fall to the ground because of an event. The day before. All right?
Are you sure about that? Are you sure? Because there's a lot of feds. There's a lot of cops. There's a lot of people in the United States with badges completely surrounding the elites. Like a lot. This is in 2000, this is the worst graph ever. 2022, there was 708,001 full-time law enforcement officers in the United States of America. And then you've got another 137,000 full-time personnel authorized to make arrests and or carry firearms in the 50 states. These are the feds. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's a million of them. There is a million law enforcement that we know of. We don't know all the different agencies, and they don't tell. Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, CIA. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on. And we don't know what any of those actual numbers are, but suddenly now we need the military to come back in. And they don't care about stupid things like posse comitatus. In case you're not familiar with posse comitatus, most Americans aren't. But posse comitatus made it illegal for the military to actually step in and mess around with domestic law enforcement in the United States of America. It's a 143-year-old law. It embodies an American tradition that sees military interference in civilian affairs as a threat to both democracy and personal liberty. However, recent events have revealed dangerous gaps in the law's coverage that Congress must address.
And one of the ways they're going to get around this, is these constant wars. They're going to send our troops away. When I say our troops, I mean the troops here in America. And then they're going to use these UN troops. Because remember, the Future Pact went into effect as October of 22nd. So American sovereignty, which means the Constitution. And people haven't figured that out yet. They don't get it yet. That alone could start, a revolution, could start, sedition, or start the patriot militias to start, uprising and things like that. People do not understand the gravity of the Future Pact being signed into law. So basically, you have no more sovereignty. You do not have. You may as well just stop teaching the Constitution to I don't know if they still teach it. I know it was a requirement to go from grade school to high school when I was coming up. When actually the Constitution should have been taught to go from college to civilian world, from college to, from high school to college, high school to civilian world, high school into the military. But see, when they don't want the law fresh in your head as you're entering your adult life, because then you will begin to ask questions. That's why they teach it to you before in grade school, and then you get brainwashed with high school stuff, and you basically forget about the law, except for those who intend to go into law. And then those who go into law show you how low life they really are. They're doing it all for a paycheck. They're not patriots at all. Lawyers are the most unpatriotic people in America, lawyers and judges, because they're very well aware of the disrespect to the law of the land that is done by law every day, because they're in those courthouses, basically shitting on the Constitution every day by using all these foreign treaties and codes to rule over American citizens with. All right. And so, being that American citizens are so just, Joe Six-Pack stupid, they don't realize the dangers of what's happening to these unrighteous decrees. Isaiah 10:1, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, and the widows that may be their prey, and that may rob the fatherless, as they take lands from people, because contracts were made, that supersede the law or go around the law, and that, and all of a sudden, if your house gets destroyed, now they can just come in and take the land that your house sit on, things of that nature. All right. As a matter of fact, let's get that in the NLT. This is Isaiah 10:1 in the NLT, and it says, "What sorrows awaits the unjust judges and those who issue unfair laws? They deprive the poor of justice and deny the rights of the needy among my people." This reads fairly strongly, man, because that's basically what's done. That's what's done with Title 4D child support. All right, that's a foreign treaty. It's not even American, and the way it's enforced, it breaks the constitutional law and many other laws. All right, the way that they enforce it, they could enforce it where it's within the laws, but then they wouldn't be able to do it the way that they do. All right, they make too much money to try and do it right. But it says, they prey on widows and take advantage of orphans. Wow. So these people are heartless and cruel, and they seek to have. Matter of fact, make me think. Let's go to they had their counsel. Also in the NLT, Isaiah 29:15, and it reads, "What sorrows await those who try to hide their plans from Yahweh, who do their evil deeds in the dark. The Lord can't see us, they say. He doesn't know what's going on. How foolish can you be? He is a potter, and he is certainly greater than you, the clay." Should the created things say of the one who made it, "He didn't make me"? Does a jar ever say, "The potter who made me is stupid"? Wow. So, and that's Esau Edom. He actually thinks he can fool and get around the Lord, man. But woe unto him. Let's continue.
So there's a law in place, and there's been a law in place for 143 years that says U.S. soldiers cannot be cops in the United States, period. Why are we exempt when soldiers are basically cops in every other country that has oil, heroin, lithium, or whatever else the powers that be want, and tell us it's for America?
Let's go bring them some democracy. This is why they got rid of Richie, now he's back, and it won't be, and he's already got 145,000 subscribers, man. So, the Lord is really, really released that spirit of exposure on Esau Edom, even by some of his own. And it's questionable. Some of the bros think that Richie actually might be a Jake. And it's possible. But nevertheless, regardless, that's neither here nor there. The spirit of because he's either a Jake or it's the spirit of Psalm 64:8. All right, so that their tongues will be made to follow themselves. Either way, the Lord is exposing. He's completely lifting up the skirt of Esau, Edom. All right, and that they're moving this plan. I'm trying to get a little bit forward to try and to bring this will definitely bring on martial law. This is what they're calling for.
Going to be. The excuse is going to be, ready for it? Drum roll.
I treated myself to a wild Alaskan company membership, and my only regret is that I didn't do this sooner. Every month I...
Shut your ass.
January 6th. This channel right here, called Wolves and Finance, it has a narrator who sounds a little effeminate, but I'm not going to hold that against him. But to watch this video, you have to click on a this has got a parental advisory or whatever. But this is all new footage straight up from the White House.
He's got a bald face and a phallic symbol hanging from his neck. I'm definitely gonna hold him to it.
House on January 6th that literally shows everything that they're claiming didn't happen at all. None of it.
So that's what I'm talking about. The mainstream media just telling lies in order to push forth, their unrighteous decrees so that they can take, whatever. All right? But let's move forward. Get about right to here.
I told us so. Let me tell you a little secret. Stand by. I'll actually show you a little secret. You see this helmet? There are many like it, but this one is mine. Okay?
Now, every Marine out there knows exactly where that saying he just said comes from, but I digress.
All the National Guard wear helmets just like this as well. And they also have body cams, and they all have GoPros. You know why? Because in this technological world we live in now, law enforcement have their own YouTube channels where they dramatize or make bad arrest or whatever because it's good for views and everybody gets a cut. You see what I'm saying? If National Guard ran into literal militias in North Carolina that just decided, instead of helping our community, our friends, our neighbors and family that have been smoked by this hurricane in North Carolina,
which looks more and more like it was man-made or controlled.
Instead, we're going to drive around looking for FEMA, even though the whole problem is FEMA's not there. But they're out there hunting it. Do you understand this? Do you see what I'm saying? This isn't hyperbole. This is real. This is common sense, something many, many people lack. But fortunately and hopefully, I think people like you do have common sense. Let's continue. So, if law enforcement are reasonably anticipating that civilian individuals or groups are going to show up, they can call in the military, and military can now use lethal force, including...
And there it is, including death and seriously body injury. You can read it for yourselves. And that's what's going to usher in the time of that. I just did it in part 1 of this video. The dystopian, events that are going to be brought on by 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. 15 and 16 are at hand. So this is 2nd Ezra 6 and 24. And at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of fountains shall stand still, and 3 hours they shall not run. No food, no water, no power. Total unlawfulness. And then they're going to release all these migrant troops on you, because of the American troops. It's not going to be them. It's more than it's going to be these troops, these UN, WEF controlled future pact that got passed on the 22nd of October 2024. It's going to be those soldiers, these migrants, these came in. America 2 years ago had about 333 million people, and America has well over 400 million people, overwhelming the system right now. because that extra 70 million or 70 plus million are draining the system, outside of the fact that they keep sending billions to Ukraine and billions to Israel. All right. And it's going to cause, and the people are angry, and it's any little thing now expected to happen. All right. The October surprise, it hasn't really happened yet. I think it's October surprise this with an S. All right. Those unnatural disasters. All right. It was a part of it. But it says, whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation at the end of your world. So, matter of fact, let me get another scripture in 2nd Ezra. All right. 2nd Ezra 16:73. Because you're going to find out who the Lord is with. And that only his elect are going to make it out of this madness, out of this dystopian nightmare that we're headed into. I highly suggest you watch the part 1, of the movie, when the girls, the ladies were getting snatched up by Edom and, and being, and what was happening to them against their will. All right. But this is 2nd Ezra 16:73. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. So you're gonna find out that the Hebrew Israelites and the prophet have been amongst you, and that we have been telling you the truth, and that those times that we've been warning of are no longer coming. They're actually here. All right. So with that, call halal Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rakah Kwadash Kwam Yasharala, Abba Babal.